So the man Adam's soul was the garden. But how can we be sure, and how can we know for certain that every man has a garden, meaning a soul? And how can we be sure that the garden symbolizes the soul? Well, let the Bible interpret the Bible. We can discern better if we look at the New Testament. Remember, Jesus famously told the parable of the sower, where he speaks of that person's soul being the ground, and the ground in which there is seed sown. And the good ground is the ground that was tilled. Now you'll remember in Genesis 2:5, the word actually says there was no man to till the ground. What does that mean? Meaning there was nobody to work with the souls of men, meaning the ground. Only after Adam came was there a man to till the ground. In other words, a man to teach men, to work on their souls, to make their souls the good ground. Another time, Jesus told the parable of the unfruitful fig tree. We can read about that in Luke 13. Let's read that. Luke 13, verse 6. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came seeking fruit on it, and it found none. Then he said to the keeper of the vineyard, Look, for 3 years I've come looking for fruit on this fig tree and found none. Cut it down. Why does it use up the ground? But he answered and said to him, Sir, let it alone this year also, until I dig around it and fertilize it. And if it bears fruit, well, but if not, then you can cut it down. So, clearly, the owner of this farm is God. And we are that fig tree. And Jesus, he is the foreman of the farm. And then God says, look, this tree is not bearing fruit. Let's cut it down. But the foreman or the farmer says, look, let me till this ground. Let me make good ground. And then they will bear fruit. And if they don't, then we can chop it down. So we can clearly see what it means for a man to till the ground. And we know that man, he was Adam. He was supposed to till the ground of the men that was created in Genesis 1. Clear evidence that Adam was the first Jesus, and Jesus is the last Adam.